Hello everyone, it's Mike 11, Thursday, May 5th, around 9 a.m. 2016, and I'm walking to the office. I took the A so that I could get a seat on the train in the morning and do a little coding. I'm in a mode where I'm trying to work fast and furious, and it's not a mode I really take naturally to. In fact, my preferred method is to go line by line, commit by commit, documenting everything with a YouTube video screen capture or screencast as I go, which is what I did through most of the Pipulate project while I was between jobs. Let's call it what it was. I called it independent consulting, but I got addicted to building the tools I've been waiting my whole life to build, or have been building versions of over the years as work for hire for employers that I had to leave behind and could never give the full tender love and care and passion that I see going into projects in, say, the GitHub community, free and open source. So I latched right onto that the second I had the time, and now I could benefit by using those tools as a secret weapon and fast tracking of these projects. But it's not exactly spot on appropriate for what I need to do, so I need to make some adjustments. So there's plenty of code I can copy and paste and transpose into new projects, and I'm in a much better starting point. Projects that would have taken me weeks before will only take me days now, but it's still days and not hours like I need for the sort of rigorous schedule I'm on. And I lose the YouTube style documenting of the micro details so that not only I can go back and track my steps, but other people can. I'm really keen on the idea of including YouTube URLs right in the GitHub repository, maybe even as part of the commit messages or something. I haven't quite gotten to that point, but I don't even have time for the YouTube videos, much less embedding the URLs in the repo. But what I do have time for is writing, because I think out loud, and you have to think out loud when you do work like this. And anyone who doesn't, anyone who thinks they just plow on ahead and any sort of capturing their thoughts is a waste, or their thoughts worth capturing are not there, or they're just fooling themselves. In order to code well, you think through a problem very verbally, very linguistically, and that means you can write it down. And that gives me a second best to the YouTube videos, which is the single markdown file that I keep on GitHub.io, a single repository. It's a private repository. You can't see the repo, but what you can see is the head of the repository, which is an index.html file that gets published through the GitHub.io system, which is something that GitHub does to make publishing static files easier, because at its heart, that's really what it's doing. And I publish it straight as a markdown file. I don't take advantage of this Jekyll stuff that they use to convert markdown into HTML. Instead, I use a JavaScript library called Strapdown.js, which allows me to just put some light wrappers or a shim around the markdown so that it really turns it into HTML, valid enough for it to perform in search. So the topics I write about in this journal do lead to Mike11SEO.com, which is the domain that I'm resolving GitHub.io to. Neat little trick. No www. I'm actually resolving what they call the apex, or the registered domain, directly to my GitHub.io published location. which is an extra neat trick. I actually had to solve a few riddles to make that happen. And I type in that every day, the thinking out loud, when I'm not doing these YouTube videos. I'm writing, and I'm writing into that journal. And it's on MikeLevinSEO.com, and it helps me think. And it allows me to work slightly faster than if I were documenting each and every step with like a YouTube video. But I still get to capture the thoughts, because process is as important as anything. If you've ever watched the pencil sketch versions of, say, a Disney animation, you'll see that it has more personality and character than after they go through the inking and the backgrounds. And I love that. The sausage factory, as some people would call it. That's where most of the knowledge is. And most people are embarrassed to sort of expose that to the world. And I took the position long ago, there's not enough time for the editing and the production value if what you're doing is really besides the point of all this media that you're producing surrounding it. This is just like a side effect, or a side product of what I do. It's not the main point. So with that in mind, I do these videos, I do that journal, and I am not embarrassed to put stuff out there. And hopefully maybe other people learn from it, but at the very least, I'm documenting it for myself. And hopefully improving the quality of my work through the principle of commitment and consistency, as described by Robert Cialdini, who says if you write it down and get it out where your peers and the public can see it, with the example of signing a petition that you know your neighbors are going to be seeing, you are much more likely to stay on that path and follow through on those things that you publicly stated that you were going to do. So that's my video. Thanks for joining me. Hope to talk to you soon, and don't forget to subscribe.